right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Tonight, the heat is on. In fact, here in the bi-state, we could reach the triple digits several days this week. Good evening. I'm Mike Bush. We have team coverage tonight of the extreme and dangerous heat headed our way. Let's begin with meteorologist Gary Frank with that Weather First forecast. Gary?
Yeah, we're preparing for that this week, and any time that we can get a little bit of a break, like even this evening where we had some rain in areas north, like in Pike County, where you got some rain that actually brought a little bit of small hail and even prompted a severe thunderstorm warning. But, you know, right now it's quiet, and we'll take all the breaks that we can get. That's the best opportunity that we're going to have for the next couple of days. Quiet conditions right now as we head into the overnight hours. The last couple of days, we've at least had our starts in the 50s and low 60s, but you know what? We're going to rely on some muggy mornings over the next few. Not so bad tonight, but we'll continue to monitor that. We're still in the 80s locally, and that's going to be a big story for us the next few days as you'll continue to look at some of the outskirt areas will fall into the 70s and maybe upper 60s. But in the city especially, we're not going to drop down below 80 too much, and that's going to be a big key for us over the next few days. Our spotty rain chances will give us an opportunity, but the significant heat builds as we continue to look at over 100-degree readings on the way, even 1 or 2 times. We'll also add that humidity, how hot it feels like it's going to be, and when we'll see maybe those rain chances give us a break before we reach our hottest stretch of the year.
And the effects of heat on the body are cumulative, so as the week heats up, it's a good idea to stay hydrated and limit your time outside. Laura Barczewski talked with a local doctor about the signs of heat exhaustion and heat stroke that you're going to want to look out for. Laura.
Mike, you really are, because heat exhaustion and heat stroke can sneak up on you, especially if you're dehydrated. So it's a good idea to start drinking water now ahead of a really hot week ahead.
When temperatures soar, you'll find a lot of St. Louisans here.
Real hot, 100 degrees, triple digits for what, 4 days?
From City Garden to Forest Park.
Just try to find water somewhere, try to stay cool. My baby is a water baby, so they like to be outside and swim and go to splash pads around the cities.
But this week, it might even be too hot to be outside for too long, even in the water.
If you're taking the kids out to the park and you're starting to feel woozy, you've been out too long.
Dr. Vaughn Powell says it's important to look out for the different signs of heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Both heat exhaustion and heat stroke can make you feel nauseous. With heat exhaustion, Dr. Powell says you might feel extra sluggish and sweaty.
Profusely. You're going to find yourself probably a little bit more thirsty than normal. You're going to definitely find yourself, you know, just wanting to get into a cooler area. And like your skin's going to be a lot bit more hot to the touch than just say the sun beating down on you.
And if it's heat stroke, some of the opposite things happen.
You start like really getting confused. On top of that, then you stop sweating. You've sweated out all the water that you can sweat, and now your body's kind of just like in this panicked mode. And then more importantly, your joints actually start locking up.
To avoid that, Dr. Powell says it's best to limit your time outside. And hydrate the day before you know you're going to be doing outside activities as well as during.
Just like I say, stay hydrated. Yep, I don't try to do too much outside when it's hot. So I kind of wait till like when the sun go over and then I kind of come out.
Especially keep an eye on kids and elderly.
Usually I'll keep my kids inside, you know what I mean? So, but we do like to get out. I mean, I'm not too worried about it. We'll be in the water somewhere, so.
If you have any signs of heat stroke, it's best to get help right away. Call 911 and then move to a cool place so you can cool down before help arrives. If you need a cooling center at all this week, we'll have a link to those on in the As Seen on TV section of KSDK.com. Reporting live from downtown St. Louis, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
And remember, you can get the latest Weather First forecast anytime on your phone. Just text the word weather to 314-425-5355. A driver is recovering tonight after crashing into the Bass Pro Shops in South St. Louis County. The crash happened this afternoon at the store on South Lindbergh and Sunset Hills. Police say the driver suffered a medical issue when he accelerated, hit a stop sign and curb before crashing into a row of boats. The driver was taken to the hospital. No word yet on his injuries. We're told no one else was hurt. Tonight, 8 people are recovering after a boat crashed into a home at the Lake of the Ozarks. It happened just before midnight. Witnesses say the boat hit the shoreline, went airborne before hitting the home and flipping upside down on the lawn. 8 people were on board. 6 suffered serious injuries.
Very chaotic. A lot of EMS, a lot of our guys and girls with the patrol and the sheriff's department. It was very busy sorting this out.
We've been checking. None of the victims are from the St. Louis area. No one was inside the home that was hurt, but the house sustained significant damage. The driver of the boat has been charged with boating while intoxicated. A summer oasis in Jefferson County is back open. Rockford Beach was closed the last few weekends due to overcrowding and safety issues. The sheriff's office now keeps an officer there to monitor the crowds.
It's really about just trying to make sure that when an emergency happens, we're able to get to the scene and to render aid, and that wasn't possible a couple weeks ago.
Not to block roads and park only in the designated 40 parking spots. Tonight, Clayton police are investigating after a fight broke out during a private party at the Shaw Aquatic Center. We're told an underage worker was assaulted. This happened around 8:30 last night. Police shut down the gathering and ordered people to leave. The worker was not seriously hurt, but was unable to identify the person who hit them. Just hours ago, we learned thousands of truck drivers and dock workers will not walk off their jobs and join a picket line tomorrow. After all, Yellow Freight reached a deal with the Teamsters Union tonight to avert a strike. Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, joins us with what was at stake.
We talked to workers here in St. Louis who were prepared to walk off the job and join the picket line tomorrow morning. Now that won't happen after Yellow Freight executives agreed to pay missed health care benefits and pension payments.
As trucks rolled off the lot Sunday night, Teamsters organizers prepared to form a picket line outside the third largest trucking company in the country Monday morning. Then word came the strike was averted. Intense negotiations came down to the wire. A statement from the union said Yellow Freight has 30 days to come up with $50 million in missed payments into workers' pensions and health care benefits, and workers will stay on the job. Officials at Yellow said in a Friday statement a strike would likely kill the company. Executives blamed the union for blocking its restructuring plan to try and modernize and said the company might run out of money next month. Former President Donald Trump granted the company a $700 million bailout in 2020, and the federal government took a 30% stake in the company. A strike that would have involved 22,000 workers could have threatened to snarl the supply chain and disrupt deliveries to clients like Walmart, Home Depot, and the Department of Veterans Affairs. As talks continue in Washington, D.C., Teamsters President Sean O'Brien rallies UPS workers in Atlanta.
We've organized, we've strategized, now it's time to pulverize.
The Teamsters president says 340,000 UPS workers could strike as early as next week if the company doesn't improve working conditions in a new contract.
We do not get a deal. UPS has chose to strike themselves, and we will withhold our labor July 31st at 12:01 a.m.
UPS hauls more than $3.8 billion of freight every day. That's roughly 5 to 6% of the entire U.S. GDP. The Teamsters president says a strike that big could send the U.S. into recession, but he's telling President Biden, stay out of the negotiations, let them work it out on their own.
Tonight, former St. Louis Cardinal Scott Rowland is officially a Baseball Hall of Famer. The 7-time All-Star and 8-time Gold Glove winner was inducted into Cooperstown today. The former third baseman also played for the Phillies, Reds, and Blue Jays, but went into the Hall as a Cardinal, where he won a World Series. But that's not the only reason St. Louis is close to his heart.
Nick and I started our family in no better place at no better time. Family is the operative word in this organization. They're first-class everything with unconditionally loyal fans. Thank you, St. Louis.
Sports director Frank Cusimano will have more from Rowland later on Sports Plus. Remembering the victims of St. Louis's worst air tragedy.
It's like they're still not forgotten.
The special gathering today on the 50th anniversary of the Ozark Airlines crash. A story of inspiration. Meet the young St. Louis woman defying the odds and becoming a fierce advocate for others living with disabilities.
Temperatures average 90 degrees this week and really for the next several weeks, but we're going to be well above that. How high we get and why we're really looking for rain and cloud cover from thunderstorms to our northwest each day to give us a break from the extreme heat.
Some people make a difference by their actions. Others just inspire. A local woman does both. As you're about to find out, Sarah Schwegel is redefining boundaries.
So we made the bathroom a little bit bigger.
On the grand tour of her new home,
Kitchen is spacious.
Sarah Schwegel's spirit lights up the walls with hope.
It's been a really amazing place to live.
For her entire life, she's turned the barriers of her diagnosis into mere stepping stones on her journey.
Mommy, I want a water balloon.
Sarah was born with SMA, spinal muscular atrophy, a disease that progressively weakens the muscles to the point that you can't even cough, which makes a common cold uncommonly frightening.
I spent a lot of time in Children's Hospital.
1, 2, 3, up you go.
But her childhood was transformed 1 week every summer at MDA camp.
When you are at MDA camp and you are surrounded by people who understand what you're going through, it's relaxing and you can let go and you feel free because you don't have to just be on guard and aware of how your disability makes you just slightly different.
What would you like to tell them?
Please call.
Through our local MDA telethon broadcasts, we watched Sarah grow up. She'd be right by my side every Labor Day. Jerry Lewis! And then Sarah went national.
I told everyone at MDA that I think you're so adorable.
It was on the national MDA telethon in 2001 that Jerry Lewis asked Sarah to be MDA's Goodwill Ambassador. That year, Sarah was the face of the fight, not just for St. Louis, but for the entire country. She says the opportunity helped shape the trajectory of her life.
It has really given me the opportunity to figure out who I am and learn how to be a public presence and advocate for people with and without disabilities to make sure that everyone gets equal access and treatment.
After earning a bachelor's degree from Maryville University and a master's from St. Louis U, her education continues this fall.
I'm getting ready to go back to school for my doctorate in occupational therapy, which is something I've wanted to do for a very, very long time.
My prayer was always that God keep her happy and give her work to do, and He listened.
And apparently, He's still listening. For the first time in years, Sarah is rekindling her passion for art, thanks to a new drug called Evrysdi.
I can move my arms so much more. I'm able to do art again. I can bake. I can set up my own meals now a little bit. It's really incredible just to have like 5% more independence.
The drug was funded in part from your donations to the Muscular Dystrophy Association. When she was born, girls with SMA were not expected to live past their teens. But Sarah recently celebrated her 30th birthday.
I am so thankful for everyone who has been alongside us in this fundraising effort and the fight for equal access. We can use technology and build communities that are welcoming and offer everyone what they need to thrive and survive.
Sarah Schwegel, defying limitations and becoming an inspiration to us all. And by the way, Sarah will be joining us at Grant's Farm for our annual MDA Telethon next month. And a reminder, if you know an inspiring person or someone making a difference, let me know by email at mbush@ksdk.com. A special birthday was celebrated today in North St. Louis County. Miss Jessie O'Brien turned 109 years old. She put on her favorite dress for today's party at the Christian Extended Care and Rehab. Her secret to a long and healthy life?
Trust in the Lord with all your heart and love people and do what is right instead of wrong. That's enough.
And Miss Jessie celebrated with a piece of chocolate cake. When Miss Jessie was born, Woodrow Wilson was president. A gallon of milk was 32 cents. It was just 12 cents for a gallon of gas, and a new car cost $500. All right, meteorologist Gary Frank joins us now with that weather first forecast. And once again, Gary, we're talking heat.
Feels like every week, every Sunday night, like clockwork, we're talking about heat or chances for rain, and we're not gonna let you down this week either. We got the same thing. We got chances for rain, we got heat. We had some chances for rain earlier. In fact, I'll show you one of them, but we've cooled down a little bit. It's not gonna be as cool as it was Saturday morning. That was really the Goldilocks day of the last 7 and probably for the next 2 weeks. But we have a southwest breeze now at 8 miles an hour. We got to 93 today. Feels like 86 still at this hour. We're starting to creep this humidity up just ever so slightly. We'll see that here over the next few days. What we have right now is a boundary that's moved through and produced a few showers and storms. Really not right now, but as long as it's hanging around, we'll still keep that chance in. I do want to show you some areas up to the north, like Bowling Green, Pike County. Eolia got some pretty good storms. In fact, I want to show you one of them here. This is from Kathy. This is one of our 5 on your side weather watches. Look at the significant rain. Some blinding, very heavy, beneficial rainfall, some smaller hail, not quite quarter size, so it didn't garner that severe thunderstorm warning. But you can see the horses, they're inside. They know when it rains, they get under there. She zoomed in on, check on them. So pretty good stuff there. Very beneficial rain, but as long as that heat and humidity is around, we get these little triggers, we see that opportunity, and that's why you'll see multiple opportunities not only tonight for some areas as it drifts further south, but especially over the next few days. So expect maybe an isolated storm. I think if you're north of 70 now, you're probably done with it, but I just want to keep that chance in for you here at this moment. As we look outside, it is quiet, but we want to look off to the northwest, as we so often have on these Sunday nights and many of these nights, for developing thunderstorms. And right now, as they continue to stay away from us, we'll still monitor that for tomorrow, maybe some cloud cover. And that's what we're looking forward to. I think areas in Gasconade County probably have a better opportunity for some of that rain. I just want to keep you prepared because that's what we're going to be looking forward to the next few days. Cloud cover, maybe a little rain to keep us from the mid to upper 90s or right around 100 degrees. And I still think we hit 94 for the most part. But on the Missouri side, you might stay a little bit away from that. Now, it's the 6th warmest start to the year. We check on this once in a while. Number 1 was 2012. No surprise. Our average temperature, 58.2. And we'll continue to see that rise over the next few days with this high. And this is this ridge of high pressure. And what we've seen over the last few days and really the last few weeks is ridge rider, these storms that kind of ride the edge of that heat and humidity, and they're a little bit stronger. So we're looking at different levels of hot. Early morning storms, if we have clouds, we're less hot, but our heat index each day is 100 to 105 very easily, and those types of storms will be prevalent the next few days. So we go from the mid-90s, and if we stay away from rain chances, we get to 100. If we get to them and we get rain, we're in the low 90s. That's what we can get, but otherwise, it's a hot week ahead, at least till next Sunday. Maybe we'll have some better news.
So be prepared. Gary, thank you. Returning to the site of tragedy, the remembrance today for the victims of the Ozark Airlines crash 50 years later. Today marks the 50th anniversary of the worst plane crash in St. Louis history. Friends and family gathered for a memorial to honor the victims and survivors. Our Justina Coronel takes us to North St. Louis County.
Ozark Airlines Flight 809 was torn apart, and to crash, also tearing apart families. First responders flooded the scene on July 23, 1973, near the University of Missouri St. Louis.
Well, there was flames shooting up in the air 20, 30 feet high.
The plane came down just 2 miles short of the runway in a wooded area in Normandy. A downdraft from a thunderstorm pressured the plane, killing 38 passengers. 6 survived.
John G. Borton.
In the same spot on the same day, 50 years later, multiple worlds merge. Trauma and tragedy tying their time together.
I think I've lived my whole life knowing my own story and not thinking about the stories of other people.
Barbara Glass was pregnant with Shannon when her husband died that day. Half a century later, Shannon helped organize this memorial commemorating the 50th anniversary.
When I became aware of the fact that there were other people and that I was able to connect with them and that it might be something meaningful for others, that was kind of my motivation to make something happen.
The anniversary connected different families feeling the same pain. Donna Diebold lost her grandparents.
Both of them just at once. It was Grandma's first time on a plane.
Time passes and their love only grows. A moment tore their lives apart, and decades later, that very same moment brings them together.
We've met people here that we never would have met, and it's sad that tragedy's brought us all together, but I think there's comfort in meeting some of these people now after 50 years, knowing that we went through the same thing.
Justina Cornell, 5 on Your Side.
And 5 on Your Side has also been in contact with 2 survivors from that day. Both say they're grateful for the people who rescued them. Well, the bird is no longer the word at Twitter. According to CEO Elon Musk, the iconic blue bird logo will be replaced with an X as early as tonight. The billionaire has used the letter X in several of his ventures, most notably SpaceX. A flower at the Botanical Garden is raising a stink. How the Muni is making it a rosy experience. Shark Week got underway today, but you don't have to travel to the ocean to get up close with this predator of the sea. The St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station is hosting events all week long. It includes an opportunity to pet some different species of sharks. A live look tonight inside the Missouri Botanical Garden, where all eyes and noses are on Octavia the corpse flower. The large plant is expected to attract large crowds this week as it begins to bloom and give off its distinct rotten smell. And that coincides with the Muni's production this week of Little Shop of Horrors. The start of the show, Audrey 2, the man-eating plant, is a cousin of the corpse flower. To celebrate, the Muni is holding a contest on its Facebook page. The person who guesses closest to the date and time of Octavia's bloom will win 2 VIP tickets to Little Shop of Horrors and the Chihuly Nights at the Garden, along with some free merchandise. And there you have it. 5 on Your Side at 10. Don't forget to start your day with Today in St. Louis. That begins at 4 a.m. And now, here's Frank Cusimano with Sports Plus.